Hello and welcome to In No Particular Order, formerly known as the SkyPyre podcast. I'm Matt, and today I'm joined by Tyson, Nick, and David. I was trying to pick which order to name them.
Aloha.
That sounds like a particular order.
So today's topic is, what are we discussing next month?
Yeah.
What
So
will
we figure out what we want to talk about in May.
what will the next topic be? It's a big decision.
It's a big decision. It's not one that we can take lightly for sure. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've been playing a whole lot of Apex.
Oh yeah.
So maybe the next topic should be what the best gun in Apex is, which is obviously the Mozambique. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, didn't you write a 3-paragraph essay on it?
Yes, I wrote a three paragraph essay on why the Mozambique is the best gun in the game.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I don't know that everyone plays Apex Legends, so my idea was that it's May, right? And May is when it rains.
It's
So we
What?
could talk about.
Did you just say it's May?
No, he says the next podcast
Yeah.
will be
Oh,
in May.
yes.
Let the man finish his thought.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm being
So
silly.
May is when it rains, right? So we could get off the train there and do an entire podcast about sad stuff, or we could stay on the train, keep going through the rain. The rain hits the ground, makes the soil moist. Flowers sprout, little buds. Little buds. We could talk about indie games.
Wow, how
How's
did...
that for
That's a stretch.
how's that for a train thought?
Yeah, wow.
That was such an incredible path to that finale.
What about? Hey,
Welcome
no.
to the wondrous mind of Nick.
Nick. It's way simpler than that. It's May. So how about we talk about things we're unsure about?
We could
Bam.
do,
I like that.
we could do the obvious
Podcast
one.
over.
We could do the obvious one, May the 4th be with you. It's basically Star Wars month. We just talk Star Wars. That's all it is.
Yeah, our favorite Star Wars. Our favorite Star Wars tabletop RPGs.
Oh boy.
You know what? There's a wide audience for that. I found that out recently.
there may be a wide
That
audience.
might not be a bad idea.
There might be a wide audience, but can you speak to that? I can't.
I can speak to that. Yeah. It's basically where you have a table top, and on it
Oh god.
you place Star Wars paraphernalia, and then invent a game
I mean-
about it. I can
Nick,
feel
Nick,
David's
you're-
spine folding in on itself.
You're a living crime against humanity.
No, Cards Against Humanity, different tabletop game.
Oh man.
We could talk about what our favorite parts of The Last Jedi were.
I mean, I'm sure we'd find a couple, but I think that would quickly that conversation would end so quickly that we would digress into the opposite.
I've got a better idea. How about we talk about our favorite stars and our least favorite wars?
That's like, I don't know.
Orion
That
and
would be an
Vietnam.
interesting. That would be an interesting twist on that.
Or what about
I mean,
our
we
least
could do
favorite
it.
stars and our favorite wars?
Do you have a favorite war?
The war with myself every morning when I wake up.
That's your
Tyson.
favorite? That's your favorite
I
war?
feel like Tyson got off the train at rainy May.
I never departed.
And he's always at that
Great.
station.
My mental
That station
train
is
of
his house.
thought. Doesn't Michael live there? Michael? Oh God!
Oh no. Oh my god. These are some. I don't know about these topics,
Okay.
guys.
How about the next topic is everybody's favorite part of the Bionicle Matanui online game, released 2001.
Ooh.
You mean the game I spent literally 10 seconds in, and those 10 seconds were spent clicking on a dude waving on the beach and telling him, no, I can't help you, and leaving?
Yeah.
I also like
You're an
Optimus
embarrassment.
Prime.
What? What, Nick?
I also like Optimus Prime.
You're
Jesus.
you're the devil. You are Lucifer in the flesh.
You're a wizard, Annie. Quote by Dumbledore or Gandalf or whoever you want to stick in there.
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Same universe.
Oh, jeez. Oh my god.
Nick, why do you hurt me so?
My
Don't-
favorite,
David, that hurt me.
My favorite entry in the series is Star Force Episode 3: Return of the Borg.
Oh god.
David, would you like a napkin for the blood coming out of your ears?
All right, so that is
No, I'd like a fucking spiked bat.
So that's next month's topic is whatever Nick just said.
Next month's
the Borg.
Next month's topic is what happened to Nick. all that we found at his apartment was just a lot of blood. What could have
my
happened?
God.
Let's figure out this mystery.
Oh my god.
Guest starring the original voice actors from Scooby-Doo.
Jesus.
The live action movie.
Wow.
Oh god. Okay, that's enough. I think we move on to the actual topic now.
Yeah, my ears are bleeding.
So
Good.
So
April Fools.
April Fools.
God.
It's April Fools today.
Comedy.
Yeah, that's not actually today's topic.
If you have to say comedy, then I've got some news for you.
Yeah. Jeez. Oh my god. I think there were some legitimate topics in there, and then most of them
Were there?
Well, I think a few.
Indie games.
I think a few could have been. Sorry. I think there was potential.
Andy
for
games?
legitimate ones.
Indie games.
Andy games?
Listen, boy.
Yes, games starring a person named Andy.
Easter egged.
I can't spell right now.
Way to go, champ. Way to go.
There we go.
Easter eggs in
In game.
games. There we go.
Easter eggs in games. Big thanks
Now
to Jasmine,
center it.
our Discord community, for suggesting this topic to us on our Discord.
Yes.
For those of you who are watching that are not in our Discord, please join, because not only do we allow suggestions from the community for our podcast topics, we also have discussions about the podcast after the podcast is aired. So lots of great incentive to join the Discord community. Also, if you do join the Discord community, you will have our eternal gratitude, and that is worth more than the entire world's currency. So,
Wow. I don't know if you could have said the word Discord more times.
Well,
Shameless
the thing
plug.
about Discord, and something that Tyson touched on there is that normally if you end up watching a stream later, you miss out on being part of the chat. But join the Discord, the chat basically continues for a month.
That's right.
So
Fun times to be had for sure.
fun times to be had, and it's free.
And that's true. Okay, so onto the topic at hand, shall we? I'd like to try to get both perspectives from us as gamers, but also as game developers. So let's start with what was your favorite Easter egg? Have you encountered any? Anyone would like to start in no particular order?
I'll go first.
All right.
I mean, if you want Easter eggs in games, there's no better place to go than Borderlands, because that game has so many Easter eggs that you can literally taste them.
Literally,
because they just cram them down your throat.
Wow.
But there's one Easter egg that my best friend showed me when we were playing the game together, and potential spoiler alert for Borderlands 2. There is a section in the game where you can jump down onto this cliff ledge and overlook this whole massive area, and there's like a big horizon, and in the distance you can see a double rainbow.
Oh.
And as soon as you look at this double rainbow, the voice actor for Handsome Jack, who is the antagonist of the game, cuts in and immediately quotes the entirety of the double rainbow video
No way.
that was viral on YouTube.
Gross.
So, I mean, that was one of my favorite Easter eggs that I've
How
run.
to date your game 101.
I mean, the game came out in
Oh,
2012? 2011?
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's not even the worst one that dates your game. Like Borderlands, there are story missions entirely unraveled in Easter eggs. They push the limits of what's considered an Easter egg and an homage.
There's an entire mission that is just one long reference to Top Gun.
Really?
There's also one about Ninja Turtles.
Yes,
Really?
that one was great. That was I love that.
Wait,
And
is
Batman.
all of this
And
is in
Batman.
Borderlands?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're just like
Oh, wow.
side missions that you can run
Okay,
into.
because the only one
me-
that I've experienced was the Minecraft one. In
Yeah, that
Borderlands
is a
2.
Ooh,
really
that's
popular.
another good Easter egg.
That was a fun.
For-
One.
Now, that'd be my favorite out of that game.
Yeah. I didn't know about any of the others, but you know what? The kind of game, the hilarity they're able to pull off in that, I'm not surprised. They crammed it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a bit in there.
Hmm. Definitely, the double rainbow one was the one that got me laughing the most, just because it was so. I
Out there.
wasn't expecting it. It's Borderlands is a game where you expect a lot of cultural references, and that was one that just completely sideswiped me somehow. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, that's one that. I mean, why would you ever think that would be in the game? That out of anything. So
Yeah.
I really want to look that up now, just to experience it to some extent.
it's beautiful.
Okay.
Is that it from you, Tyson?
That's all I can think of. That's the one that really sticks out in my head.
For me, I don't have any one, I guess, that really sticks out, because they're usually, like, obviously there are a ton of them in Borderlands, and like I said, they make up like a number of the actual story missions. So those ones aside, couple of my favorites are in Halo 2, in I think it's the second mission in the campaign, Outskirts. There's a thing you can do where you jump on one of your like fellow Marines' heads, and then you jump and crouch jump up to this thing. Anyway, you get your way up onto the rooftop, and there's an energy sword there, which is a weapon you don't get in the game until much later.
Okay.
And you can, and I actually didn't know how to normally make it through that level for like, I don't know, 4 years.
Oh wow.
Is that really is that an Easter egg though, or is that just a secret?
That's a little secret.
What's the
Secret-y
difference
Easter-
between an Easter egg and a secret?
Well, I
I
have
define an Easter egg as just something where the developers go, haha, look at this.
I have the Easter egg definition if you're interested.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
I mean, to me, that sounds more like this is a secret little cool thing,
So
rather
I
than like
think-
this is like a reference or some kind of like. Anyways, continue,
Yeah,
Matt.
I think there is for sure some gray zone in there that you could say either or. Some are obviously one or the other, but I think there is definitely a gray zone. This one, I'm not sure. So it states, in computers, software, and media, an Easter egg is an intentional inside joke, hidden message, or image. It's also a secret feature a secret feature of a work. So apparently it's not just for games, it's also software and media. Usually found in a computer program, video game, or DVD, Blu-ray menu screen.
It's like putting funny comments in your code.
Yeah, so the name is used to evoke the traditional Easter egg hunt. Obviously, it's kind of like to lead the player or the user on a hunt. So I guess secrets. I don't know. Kind of.
It's well.
I did not know that definition. I've always defined an Easter egg as just something that like a secret. Like
No.
I guess I have a
secret-
broader definition of it.
Yeah, a secret and an Easter egg. Yeah, an Easter egg is very specifically like it's like some kind of little like hidden joke or hidden little reference or something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
Well-
they can for sure correlate and be the same, but sometimes they are not at all. So I think it's case by case.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Well, I think I have two in my short list that would fall under that definition, because I don't think Skyrim's Blackreach applies.
I don't know.
What was that a reference to?
I don't think it was a it was a secret. That's all. A very big secret.
Well, it wasn't a secret because you go there for the main storyline.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Shows how much attention I paid to Skyrim. Anyways, the two actual Easter eggs here are one of them is in Far Cry 3. So on the cover of the box, the villain Voss is sitting on a beach, and he's got a guy buried up to his nose, in the sand, and behind him are two people hanging from a tree, like hanging from a tree, and he has like a knife sitting in the beach in front of him, and you can actually find where he was sitting on the beach. And when you get there, there's like there's a head half submerged in there, or a head submerged in the sand, two people hanging from the tree, and the knife is sitting in the beach. In like its sort of exact position as it was on the cover of the game. So that was kind of neat.
That's cool.
It's an unmarked thing too, but when you find it and you can interact with the head, I think you get an achievement for it or something, a secret achievement.
Very cool. I think it's very cool when you see like something on a cover art or some offhand picture, and then you find it in game exactly as is. I find that consistency kind of cool in games.
I do too. Far Cry has a lot of really good Easter eggs. None of them I would count as sort of favorites or really memorable ones, but it have a lot of them. And the other one is in the strangest of places, in Command & Conquer 3. There's again, I don't really know if they're Easter eggs by definition. They're funny. They're like funny little things where if you're not paying attention, you won't notice it. But if you look hard enough, you'll see it. One of them is that the infantry unit that the faction, the GDI faction has, when infantry in that game operates in squads. Okay. So it's not like individual people. So when you make a squad, they come out of the building and they're all together and they move. But if you just sort of leave them idle, like there's a little animation of two guys like looking at each other in the squad, then they laugh, and then one spanks the other guy. And the guy turns around and he's all pissed off about it. I always thought that was kind of funny.
Really? Huh.
And they have a repair structure called a crane, which for this same faction, it's like a robotic arm. And if you don't use it for a while and you leave it be, and then you end up looking at it, you can sometimes catch it doing the wave, like doing the worm.
Oh, wow!
Which I've always found kind of funny.
Those
are some of the ones that stick out to me. Every time I think about an Easter egg, I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Very cool. David?
Yeah. The biggest Easter egg I can think of in a video game that I've played is in Chrono Trigger. One of the endings, like a whole ending, is essentially an Easter egg where it's like one of the hardest endings to get, but if you do it, it's like the endings in Chrono Trigger are based on like, in what way do you end up beating the final boss, because you can fight him at multiple times. Anyway, doesn't matter. If you beat it in this one specific way, you're just in this room, and it's just everyone who worked on the game is like a character, and you can just sort of talk to them.
Oh.
And they like make jokes and stuff like that. And like they like make things like, oh haha, I'm gonna turn off the game, I'm gonna reset it. It's like, but like
okay. Huh.
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
So I've obviously heard of developers putting themselves in the game, but I didn't but usually it's like a picture or names or something. These guys actually put themselves as NPCs basically.
Well, I mean, it's like their sprites are just like characters in the game. But like it's, when they talk to them, it's like, oh, it's me. I blah blah blah. I did this in the game.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it's like totally fourth wall breaking.
Like 100%, yeah.
That's great. That's so good. Huh. Well, yeah, I could see why you would put that as a number one, or pretty high up there.
Yeah, I mean, Halo's got a whole bunch where like, I think that there's this one place in I think Halo 3 where like, if you go to this, I mean, to begin with, so much of Halo is like a reference to Marathon.
Yeah.
Like so many of the emblems and et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I mean, that's just like on the face of it. But like, I think there's this one place in one of the games where you get up to this high ledge and climb on this building that's really hard to get to. And like some music starts to play. And I think it's like music from one of their other games or something.
Huh. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's in the one the big like area where there's like multiple scarabs.
Yes.
It's like the big kind of snowy thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of the chapter Covenant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's somewhere around there, I think.
Halo 3 is also the one that had that passage at the beginning of the game when you're running through like a jungle, And if you jump up onto some ledge, you find these like horrifying looking little monkey people. Like there's just static objects. They're not actually moving or animated in any fashion.
Oh, speaking. That's another Halo 3 Easter egg. Is if you're at that like base, and you go, like, you're supposed to go like left or whatever, and if you go right really far, you reach this. There's these bunch of Marines who are like, there's some on the other side of this door, and they're like having a conversation, and they're like arguing about like how to get through the door, and those are some of like the Rooster Teeth people.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different, I think because it changes depending on the difficulty you're playing, and each, so if from all the way from easy to legendary, is a different dialogue, and it's like a different sort of, different fan thing. I think 2 of them are Rooster Teeth, and then 2 of them are other people as well.
That's really cool. Huh. We'll have to try that next time I play.
Well, it's coming to PC.
That's true. That's true.
Very exciting.
I think for me, I already said the Borderlands Minecraft one. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim again, so the notched pickaxe at the top of a mountain in Skyrim.
Yeah.
That's just a fun little one that you can find. There was also, I don't know if you guys have ever played Spore.
Yep.
So in Spore, in the main menu, there's the galaxy, and then you're supposed to pick your planet, and that's where you start playing. If you spin that planet really, really fast, all the developer faces start to appear all over the place and just go flying everywhere. So that's a fun thing. I think it also makes like a weird sound, like a lot of people talking, if I recall correctly. It's been a while, but yeah. So that's one that again, like in the definition, main menus, they'll sometimes hide them in there. This isn't I guess it's a game within the OS. Was that the Windows 98? I think where someone uncovered a Doom style game kind of thing within the code of the OS, and then you could actually run around and find the developers in there, and it was called the Hall of Tormented Souls or something.
That was the XL95, I think.
There, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Excel. I was like, I've heard that Hall of Tormented Souls, but I don't know that it was Windows. It was Excel?
It's something like that, yeah.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was kind of funny. And then you just they actually called it the Hall of Tormented Souls. Makes you wonder what they had to go through. What I think is very fun is for all these Easter eggs, most of them anyway, apart from maybe the Spore one, most of them seem to all be about exploration, and just doing whatever you feel like doing. Like the Halo one that David, you just said, go left. Player decides now, go right. And then, well, instead of just like real life where there'd be nothing there. Because
real life there wouldn't be nothing. There'd be some shit going on.
No, but I mean, like like the player goes left, the soldier goes left, he continues with his mission. Why would he go right? But then with the player, it's a game. Players can do whatever the hell they want. I think it's fun that developers almost reward them or surprise them at the very least with some random whatever the hell. Makes it kind of fun for. Even if you've played the game a million times, it gives you a little new something just because you changed it up a little bit.
One of my favorite things to do, and maybe it's the wrong way to do it, is as soon as I'm done a game, single player game that is, the first thing I do is go and look up like Easter eggs and references and secrets, because you'll happen upon them. Like I happened upon one playing Far Cry New Dawn that I can't recall right now, but when I went and you find them here and there, and then when you go and you look it up, you find out what that thing might have been in reference to. And what I always enjoy is once I'm done, I think to myself, what are the secrets and Easter eggs that I found? And was I right? Was I right about what they were a reference to?
Yeah.
And it's always satisfying when you're right.
Yeah, I can understand you looking up the ones that you found, but if you went into a game and just looked them all up, then No,
you gotta play it first.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So kind of like to segue from this to the next one, as a dev, have you ever wanted to make an Easter egg? What? I mean, we basically have in Halen.
We did do one in Halen, yeah.
Yeah, we did. Well, I mean, I wasn't... Okay, so for those who don't know, when we were in school, we made a couple of games throughout the years. And David and Nick were on one team in like third year, I think it was. Or second year? Second year. And you guys worked on a game called Boot. Care to explain?
Yeah, well, I mean, Boot was a
time.
A Boot was, I mean, the end product was a lie. It was a sham. A house of like it's like in that. Oh no, okay.
We'll put a trailer. We'll link to the trailer in the
trailer. No, but the thing is, oh my god. Well, I don't want to get in. But point is, okay, it was a game where you're in this wilderness with like monsters and stuff, and you've got this little robot who is your only protection, and you gotta like find upgrades in the environment to make him better, so he can fend off guys and last longer on how he had more battery power or whatever. I mean, the game worked. It just wasn't like a very fancy. But for our trailer, we did a little E3ing, if you take my meaning.
A lot of After Effects.
But anyways, the project was about making a project, not even about making a game that worked. So
true.
It wasn't like they didn't even care that we made a real game.
That class was about learning like agile development and like Kanban and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But
that's sort of, so for us, that was our first game we made as a group, which is why, Matt?
Well, I mean, I wasn't part of that team, so I was
trying to smoothly segue you into that's why it was included as an Easter egg in Halen.
Yeah. Well, we put Boot in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a little nook. So I think was I the one that did this? I'm pretty sure I was a level designer. But
I mean, you had all kinds of plans for Easter eggs, and
I'll get to that. But yeah, there was a little nook somewhere where a shameful piece of geometry was clipping with another one, and you could see behind it. And instead of patching it up, because that's what a good developer would do, I looked at that and I went, I'm going to stick Boot back there. And I'm going to make the voice actor record a line about it. So I don't know if this one was in secret or not. I think it might have been. I think I sprung this one on at least some people on the SkyPyre team. But in secret with Michael, I believe. We put a trigger volume in there with a little dialogue saying, guy being like, "Oh, poor son," Sharp would remark about this sad little robot that was crumpled in the corner. And what was that sad little robot, David?
Well, it was Boot.
It was Boot.
It was Boot. Boot himself.
Yeah, so
literally the model.
That's right. Well, no. I had to remake that model. I remember.
Oh.
I remember.
That's your contribution to Boot.
Because and that's what we said at the time too. Because he didn't exist. We didn't have any models left. All I had to work with. Do you remember what I had to work with? All I had to work with was like 3 freaking frames from the trailer. That's how I recreated Boot.
It came out pretty good. The best part is you modeling 3 frames of a trailer's worth of reference footage for a model probably came out better than we actually modeled it in the first place. So if you want to watch that trailer, go see the trailer. You'll understand. Boot is the one robot, so it's very clear. He's not there for very long, and I had to figure out what he looked like and his shape and everything from a trailer that's basically all dark in fog, constantly moving. It was wonderful. With motion blur.
It was great.
But I like that you had to put that much effort in for just like an Easter egg.
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's a great segue to one of the Easter eggs I wanted to put in Halen.
Yeah, you had a lot of very ambitious ones.
I had a lot of very ambitious Easter eggs. One of them was, so we have these big these big kind of machine things, and they had a circular node or whatever on the front of them. But what they looked like is they looked like those black electric pencil sharpeners you had in like high school. Yeah. They, like, you know, it would be a silent room, and that one guy would get up and be like, sharpen his pencil.
Yeah,
those people. Anyway, it looked like one of those. So I wanted to have some sneaky mode of activation, like the player had to jump through some trigger at the wrong time when they weren't supposed to. And basically a giant pencil would emerge from the bottom of the map and sharpen itself into this giant machine.
Yeah, that would have been quite the thing if we had been able to do that, but time permitting.
I also wanted to model our university lab behind a hidden rock.
Oh, that's right.
And if you walked into it, Sharp would say, "Wow, this is a great place. Why don't we just spend 8 months here against our will?"
Oh man. I completely forgot about those.
And of course the underwater level, but
well, of course. Well, I mean, yeah, we didn't make the underwater, but there was a reference to that joke.
That wasn't a reference. That one puddle of water was meant to be just an interesting place to find. It wasn't a reference to the underwater level.
It is a reference.
Water is not a reference to a water level.
No,
there's water.
I remember during
I don't know,
development.
Maybe we should keep it secret. So when the real water level happens, no water levels, never.
The Blobs fight underwater.
I mean,
it's okay.
If you really want to throw in a good water level Easter egg, just like have Michael alter like one of the themes to sound like the in Sonic 2, I think. When you play the chemical plant and you're like underwater and it plays that like din 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 din, and it gets you know what I mean? The sound of like impending death from Sonic 2.
I'll have to look that one up.
Basically just have Michael read you a theme to like that.
I mean, yeah, he could.
That's the water level Easter egg.
So,
or just have your players hate your entire life for throwing in a water level. I mean, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you're not totally wrong. So I think no, I don't think we've touched it. We've talked about some ridiculous Easter eggs, but what once you found out there was an Easter egg somewhere, were there any ridiculous lengths that you would be willing to go to reach that egg? Any, like, I don't know, Konami Code-esque crazy
actually I can chime in something
action
here. I can chime in something pretty good here. I can't believe I forgot about this. But in God of War came out.
The new one.
Yes, the new one. The reboot. The newest God of War came out very close in proximity to Infinity War.
Oh, okay.
So they had an item that you could collect, or actually a series of items that you could collect. One was called the Shattered Gauntlet of Ages, and then it was like an enchanted gauntlet you could put on, and it had 3 spaces in it because you can do more than 3 for the game, unfortunately. But
okay.
In those spaces you could put the Eye of the Outer Realm, and Vari's Soul, and Ivaldi's Corrupted Mind.
Okay.
So you got the Soul Stone, you got the Mind Stone, and you got, I don't know what the Outer Realm one would be. Is there a Space Stone? Was there a Space Stone?
I would guess space. Yes, there is a space.
Here's a good way to figure out what color were they.
They're all gold in this.
Space is the Tesseract, by the way. So
right.
Yes, there's space.
Okay, so yeah, basically you could you had to go through the different realms that you could play in and collect each piece of this.
Huh.
And then once you got it, it was just like an OP as heck gauntlet that you could wear, where you could just like shoot magic out of your hand.
Oh.
And it was all just one big nod to the Infinity Gauntlet. But it takes like a long time to collect everything you need for it, because you have to progress through 4 different realms, which is the majority of the game.
Oh, okay.
To get all these items together.
Okay.
But then once you have it, it's like it's sweet release once you realize what's happened.
Okay, so at least it didn't, if you knew about it, it's not like 10 minutes into the game you have it. You have to still play the whole game, basically.
No, you have to play pretty much the whole game before you collect everything.
Okay.
Probably particularly for that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's cool.
I didn't know about that one. Tyson, you've been playing Red Dead. Anything in there? that you
Red Dead
found?
Easter eggs?
Yeah.
Red Dead?
Oh god, I'm sure there are some.
I don't know. It's just it's apparently such a big world with so much stuff. I can't imagine them not having anything.
I
There's
don't
so
know
much
if there's
stuff
any.
that can happen.
I don't know if there would be any Easter eggs. They were too busy investing all of their money in realistic horse balls.
I mean, fair enough. Fair enough.
Them's your Easter eggs.
If you notice it, yeah, there you go.
Oh god, I don't know if I could think of any Easter eggs that really stuck out to me in Red Dead 2. I mean, a lot of the game was just really entertaining to play.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
As far as Easter eggs are concerned, I mean, I'm sure there was a good, bad, and ugly reference in there somewhere. There had to be.
There's probably a Westworld one too.
Probably,
I'd imagine.
probably quite a few. Yeah.
But off memory, no, I can't think of anything from Red Dead 2.
All right. Well,
For
fair
me,
enough.
I don't know if we're based on my new learned definition of what an Easter egg is. I don't know if it counts as that. But in a couple of Valve titles, there's a gnome. So this little gnome, who's named Gnome Chomsky,
Okay.
is present in Half-Life 2 Episode 2 and Left 4 Dead 2. In the one where the most ridiculous length you have to go to for an Easter egg is there is an achievement in Half-Life 2 Episode 2 called Little Rocket Man. So the game is about, I would say, at a reasonable pace, about 6 hours.
Okay.
And you, from the first 5 minutes, are given a vital choice. You meet this little gnome, and you can either leave him in his bunk bed and continue and play the rest of the game, or you can take this little gnome and bring him with you until the very end of your 6-hour experience through wave combat, through vehicle sections, through cinematics, through all of the whole 9 yards of the game that it throws at you. And it does not give you a lot of fun ways to try to keep this physics object gnome with you. It's not like you put him in your inventory. You have to carry him in front of you, like classic source game fashion. Or with the gravity gun. And then get him all the way to the end and stick him in a rocket.
Huh.
And then you get an achievement, Little Rocket Man. And the door closes on the gnome. And I think it's worth a comically low amount of whatever, I don't know, achievement score. I originally did it on Xbox 360, so it would have been achievement. What are they called? Achievement score?
Gamer
Gamer
score?
score?
Gamer score?
Gamer score, yeah.
Yeah.
Gamer.
But the same achievement is present on Steam. But yeah, that'd be about the most ridiculous length I've gone to for an Easter egg. Again, I don't know if that really counts as an Easter egg. To me, that would be an Easter egg if there wasn't an achievement tied to it. I think the achievement's just acknowledgement of the Easter egg. But
yeah. I don't know.
But yeah.
I don't know in this case.
I'm not sure if it really counts as an Easter egg, again, based on the definition. But,
I mean, it is a goofy, fun secret.
No, not that. I'm talking about what I'm about to suggest.
Oh.
I don't know if any of you guys played Far Cry 3.
Yes.
Not really.
There's a secret ending to Far Cry 3 where at the very beginning of the game you meet the antagonist.
Is that Far Cry 4?
Oh yeah, it is Far Cry 4. You're right. Oops, my bad. It is Far Cry 4. So yeah, you meet the antagonist at the beginning of the game and he sits you down in his office and he's like, "Hey, wait here for like 15 minutes. I'm going to go get something." And in the actual game, you leave and you go and you start this rebellion and blah, 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 right? You do the whole game. But if you sit there and you wait for 15 minutes, you beat the game.
Oh.
Like, he comes back and he's like, "Okay, here's your mother's ashes. Let's go to the top of this mountain and scatter them." And that's it. Game over.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's one of those situations where, like, when you start the game, you can either leave and spend the 30 hours it takes to get to the end of that game, and then scatter your mother's ashes at the top of a mountain, or you wait 15 minutes, literally doing nothing, listening to a guy get bludgeoned to death in a room behind you, and then he comes back and he's like, "Oh, thank God you're still here," and then he takes you to the top of the mountain and you scatter ashes. I would define that as a secret, as per our definition discovery, but it is a very funny one.
The thing that always makes me
gotta
laugh
wonder
about Easter
who
eggs,
found it the first time.
exactly. The thing that always makes me laugh about Easter eggs is like things like this. They take effort to do. Like it takes development time to do these little
That's
teeny
true.
weeny little things. Like the Borderlands one takes like development time. It takes modeling time. It takes voice actor time. Same with Boot. It took modeling time. It took development time. It took voice acting time. All of these things, like I can't even fathom how much time in like development scales have just been utterly wasted on making silly little jokes
But
when it
Tyson,
could be spent on like.
were they wasted?
I mean, definitely not. But you know, if you look in the mind of a project manager, when it's like, "What did you do this week?" It's like, "Oh, I made this little Easter egg," and they're like, "Cool. What about all the assigned tasks you had to do?" It was like, I didn't do those.
Here's the thing: speaking as your project manager, I deliberately make those Easter eggs as tasks because I think they're essential. They're part of that sort of love and charm, you know, especially if you're developing a single player experience, right? They're sort of part of that charm. It's the little things. So, you know, when you're walking through your Fallouts or your Uncharted's or whatever, you name it, and you're finding these there's two things. So you're finding, you know, the little details that are diegetic, right? You go into an abandoned shopping mall in a post-apocalyptic game, and there's cans riddled around. It looks like people have huddled up and lived there, you know, like this type of thing. Like all these little details in the world, people see that stuff and they appreciate it. They're like, wow, they really put an attention to detail in this. The same thing I believe applies to Easter eggs, right? You know, you find these little Easter eggs and you go, oh, like that's, you know, it's a little, maybe depending on the game, it's a reminder that we're all here to have fun, right? It's like a little like, oh, yeah, that type of thing. So
Fair
I
enough.
like those.
Mm-hmm.
I got a quick question,
Okay.
maybe before we wrap up.
Mhm.
Is there an Easter egg, or here, let's broaden the description. Is there an Easter egg or a secret or like a glitch or something that you've tried to do, or you saw someone do it? You maybe watched a video do it. You had your brother or your friend sit down next to you and do it, but you have not been able to do it. No matter how hard you try.
Oh,
You've tried and tried and tried, and you gave up. You came back 5 years later, and you went, "Oh yeah, that thing," and then you tried again, and you still couldn't do it.
oh, jeez. Ooh,
Hmm.
While you guys ponder, I'll regale you with a tale of mine. So, as I mentioned, for Halo 2 with that little sort of climbing on the roof bit, whatever, which is a secret, as we've learned by definition. I didn't actually, I played Halo 2 a lot with friends, almost exclusively with friends, so co-op, right? So one of my friends was a very good player, and if you've played Halo 2, you know about the Scarab gun secret, which is this whole thing where you like jump on a giant soccer ball and throw a grenade at it, and the grenade launches you onto this little tiny pole, and you run up that pole, and then you jump into this thing, and then you fall through some geometry and land on a thing, and then you use a frag grenade, only a frag grenade, and then it jumps you up here, and then then you get in a banshee, a secret banshee or something, and then you end up flying all the way up into the skybox, and at the very top, on top of this one little pillar, is an unassuming looking plasma pistol that's actually like a super weapon, basically.
Huh.
It has unlimited ammo, and it just shoots this ungodly beam of superpower. I have been in co-op watching my friend do that. I tried to do it at the time as a kid when I was playing Halo 2. As a teenager, years later, I tried to do it again, and then when the Master Chief Collection came out, I was like, oh, you know what? I'll give it a go. Maybe it's easier in Halo 2 Anniversary. It's not, in case you're wondering, because I still haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
That sounds like quite the challenge.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of work to go through for a gun.
Yeah, but it's...
And you lose the gun, like, at the end of the mission, too.
Oh, wow.
Well, of course
Makes
you
it
do.
even worse. But that, for me, that's one of those, that's like a secret or a glitch that I've just been unable to do.
Well, when it comes to PC, are you gonna do that? You're gonna try it?
Yeah, well, as per tradition, apparently.
Well, I now have a goal.
Yeah, here, how about
Figure it
this?
out before Nick does.
That we all
We'll
have
do
a
a
goal.
four-player
Race.
co-op session. Maybe we'll stream it for our lovely audience.
Oh, they don't want to see us fail, or maybe they do. I don't know.
And I will try to do it.
I'm gonna try too. You're like, frig, that sounds like fun if you achieve it. I doubt you will,
But yeah,
maybe we'll see Nick reach his dreams. Of
Maybe.
what is it? The
I mean-
scarab gun.
Scarab gun,
All right.
Yeah.
as in the beetle.
Yeah.
As in, well, it's the Scarab gun. As in the
The
game,
Scarab
there's
from-
there's these big walking Covenant tank platforms that shoot these fucking death beams, and it's one of those beams. So yeah, Scarab gun.
Woo.
I guess for me, I mean, it's not quite. I mean, yes, I feel like that. The question does apply. Like that has happened to me, but again, off the top of my head, it's. I mean, I succeeded, but. It's the same thing. Like in Chrono Trigger, I'll give you a little bit of detail on how you get to that weird ending with all the developers. Like it's like it has to be a new game plus.
So you've had to
And-
beat it once already,
Yeah.
right?
And so at the beginning of the game, a bunch of stuff happens, and you have to go into this teleporter, which is going to send you into the past, blah, 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 whatever. Don't worry about it. But if you go to there's two teleporters, and if you go to not the right one, you instead get teleported to the boss of the game.
Oh.
But-
And it's just you and one other party member, and you normally have 3 party members to fight stuff. So, and you have none of your it's new game plus, so you are like, I think you start with all of your I can't remember you start with something. Like it's not impossible, but it's like, yeah, you got to fight the boss of the game at the beginning of the game. And if you beat him, then you get this weird ending. But it's just like, yeah.
I mean, if you're not expecting it, then yeah,
Actually,
that would scare the crap out of you.
but that is it. I do like that kind of thing because that's the type of Easter egg where it's right at the beginning of the game. So if you wanted to go back and be like, oh yeah, I heard about this, I want to go do this thing. You know, you don't have to run through the whole game again.
That's true.
Like it's not, maybe it's not an Easter egg, but maybe it would have been considered one at the time. But I think Quake 1 has 4 difficulties. So the way you choose your difficulty is you start in a room, right? And there are 3 hallways leading away from this room. There's one that's just straight bridge leading to a gate, and that's easy. Then there's one where there's no bridge and there's lava underneath and you have to jump across it.
Okay.
Or there's water beneath and you have to jump across the water, or as you fall in the water, you have to climb back out of the water and jump across the space again. It's not like it's hard, but that's normal. And then there's one to the right, which is spewing lava, and you have to jump over the spewing lava, and if you fall in, you die. And that's the hard mode. But then I'm pulling from memory here, so it might not be the most accurate, but there's an extremely hard, or like an insane, or something like that, or a brutal. Maybe it was brutal was their definition. But you had to, like, turn around and, like, rocket jump yourself up something, and then activate a door on the ceiling and jump into it or something like that. And then you had to do this gauntlet of like little posts or a thin beam or something over lava. Anyway, that's how you got to the brutal difficulty. And they never told you this, right? And this was at a time, sort of early internet, you know, in the sense that everyone's, you know, on dial-up and stuff like that. So, you know, it wasn't quite as easy as like, oh, I'm going to go look up how to get the brutal difficulty. It's like you pretty much heard from someone, or you went on a forum and they're like, do this and this and this and this, and you'll get to brutal. And you're like, okay, do what? You know, it's like you can go to YouTube and watch someone do it, type of thing.
Right.
But thought that was kind of an interesting sort of thing, that the difficulty is a meter of how hard it is to get there. And I have never tried, but I do hear that on brutal it is exactly, by comparison, that difficult to play. So it's kind of an interesting little functional Easter egg. But again, like David's, right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah, well, I think that was a good discussion on Easter eggs and how they've been implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts?
My only final thought would be, once we're done wrapping up here, head over to the Discord and let us know what your favorite Easter eggs are, or any of the cool ones you found. Be curious to chat with you guys about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure there's lots of Easter eggs that we have no idea about.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of In No Particular Order, formerly known as the SkyPyre Podcast. It's been fun, and join our Discord. See you later.
Bye-bye. Casual.
Yeah.
Bye.